Hello and welcome to Porch League Season 25. I am Berdito,
And I'm Rotom.
and we're coming at you this year with a little bit of something different. We are not doing a full draft analysis video, but what we are going to do this week is introduce you to a new uh, program called Heat of the Week.
Yes.
This was one of Emerson's ideas of many, but basically, what we're going to do is each week we will find three games that thought were extra heat. Heat is to be loosely defined so that we can have fun doing whatever we want each week, but we'll pick three matches and kind of highlight those three. And in the course of the episode, narrow it down to one award each week to be the final heat of the week. But this is the start of the season. Week one will be as you're seeing this will be the start of this week, and so instead of going through matchups, we are going to do a heat of the week draft edition. So on the homepage, you might see that there's like a ranked standings right now, and this is pulled from our results from last season, which are with our new coaches slotting into the bottom. But what's convenient about this is it'll give you a quick overlay of the three divisions we have. The top six teams will be the X division,
Yep.
and then the next six, so teams 7 through 12 will be the Y division, and then 13 through 18 will be the ZA division. So throughout the course of the season, you're going to round robin your division, and then you will play one coach from each of the other groups. So within each division of six, there's two groups. So 1 through 3 is Group A, 4 through 6 is Group B, etc. And so on our non-conference weeks, you'll play a here like let me I'm going to change this to say week 3. And the blue sides are X, the red sides are Y, and the green sides are ZA. So throughout like a regular season, week one, it's all within the conference. So you see blue versus blue, red versus red, green versus green. But on our non-conference weeks, you'll see that there will be two groups, uh, or there will be like different matchups. That kind of is a bit of a rundown of how the season will work. What we did for our draft analysis is we just picked uh, three heat drafts,
hmm
and we'll talk about each of them and maybe crown a winner. Let's start with X.
X is the
Um,
top players from last season.
seasons 1 through 6. You can kind of see who they are, and our heat for this division, our heat draft, we're giving to Nick J and the Boston Beartics.
So, yes, we are starting with Nick J. Nick J always drafts really awesome teams. Sorry, I'm moving your webcam again.
And notably, they're usually pretty top heavy.
Yeah.
And the joke has kind of been, how do we let Nick get that so late in the draft? Because somehow, round 5 and 6, they always end up somehow finding really, really good things on the board. And sure enough, round 4 they drafted Aegislash, round 5 Mega Tyranitar, and round 6 Enamorous Incarnate.
Round
So
6, Enamorous. What did we do?
yeah, we lost is what we did. As a collective, we could not overcome this draft heat. So normally, the teams are sorted by tier, but just to make our analysis easier, we sorted each of these three teams by speed. And what you'll notice is they have their bases covered pretty well. As Sean said in his draft analysis video, when you look at the speed tiers, a speed tier like Great Tusk in base speed 87 um, keeps the fast Pokemon honest because
Mm.
for base 100 Pokemon, if they wanted to run an offensive stat boost or nature like adamant or modest, or even a defensive one, if they don't want a positive speed nature, the fastest they can get to is 299 base speed, and Great Tusk at max speed hits 300. So, for example, like if anyone has a 106 might be a pretty fast um, Pokemon, and anyone with a base 100 will choose to underspeed that. But they're kept honest, and they can't necessarily just run an offensive nature in fear that a Great Tusk might outspeed them and click headlong rush or some really strong attack.
I didn't realize that there was like kind of a cutoff almost for, what, because when I see this, right, I see 87 to 106, I'm like, oh,
Yeah, that
maybe,
looks like a big gap. Yeah,
yeah, but like specifically how they all work together is really, really cool. Um, so yeah, this is, I agree, it's a very top heavy draft. What are going to be some cool things about this team? So I really like that Nick isn't stuck with just one thing to set Stealth Rock. You have two incredibly offensive things that can also just set rocks when, you switch out because you're scared.
yep,
Um, so you got the rapid spin support. Tusk is one of the best rapid spinners in the format, probably the best in my opinion.
right,
Um, and so you've got a good mix of physical and special threats. Latios is something that can do literally whatever it wants any week, and that's what Nick excels at, is having flexible Pokemon like that. Um, but yeah, the Dragon Fairy Steel is super solid. Um,
right. And to have Zeraora just on top of that as a just kind of like capping the speed really high.
yeah.
Um, that's really threatening. I like the sort of defensive options, and I call them options because I think this team is really good at kind of like flexing a bit. Like you might see after 9 weeks that 5 or 6 of the games, um, Great Tusk could be the defensive wall, but we also have a Milotic there with the Flame Orb and its nature, it could be a strong defensive, physically defensive Pokemon. You obviously have things like T-Tar and the low tiers are can be notably bulky as well. That's not to even mention like Latias.
Hmm.
So one of the things about that is that that flexibility um, grants a lot of options to a lot of different Pokemon. You could see an offensive Milotic one week. You could see Dragon Dance Tyranitar. You could see a booster speed or a booster attack. Great Tusk, or and then Latias could be a Wish Passer, could be the Defogger, could do a lot of that stuff, or it can run with its natural bulk. You can run like weakness policy on it and have a pretty offensive threat there. So in all those ways, this is a type of team that is going to be hard to prep for. On this type of team, I think the Pokemon that has the most options to give Nick a heat of the week are going to be Enamorus and
Chespin.
Aegislash. Ooh, Chessman, yes.
No.
Chessman, the heatest of the week. Sets
No,
free
for
spikes and
sure.
dies.
Yeah, so Enamorus can do superpower, contrary stuff, calm mind stuff, spec stuff,
Right.
scarf. But I think Enamorus can do some pretty cool things, and it's not specifically just your Moonblast Scarfer, which Nick has done a very good job of making sure that's not what its role is every week, I think.
Right.
So, yeah.
But yeah, actually, and Aegislash, especially with the high attack stats with the other Pokemon and the high special attack stats with the other Pokemon, it's really kind of free to run like kind of spam Shadow Balls one week and then run Swords Dance physical attacks the next week. So
Yeah.
um,
I keep looking at Arbok as like, oh, this is where Aegislash is supposed to be. And then I just look at the team and I forget that there's an Aegislash here at the end.
right.
Like, oh my god.
Yeah, a pretty wild assortment of Pokemon. Um, so yeah, that's the first of the 3 heats of the week.
So here we are at the Miami Mudkips, our Y division heat of the week. Heat of the
And the
draft.
main, yeah, the heat of the week, draft week. The main reason that this got heat of the week for the draft week is because he was able to hold on to his 18 point mega until the last round. So floating your mega comes with so many risks. You know, it's like you might there might not be a good one by the time it gets to you. And I feel like this is a good example of risk high risk high reward because that meant rounds 1, 2, 3 he got Kirim, Landorus Incarnate, and Slowking. And
Yeah.
then he was able to kind of build out the rest of his team, knowing that okay, at that point, a lot of people had either chosen their megas or they're running low on points, and I felt like the Mudkips um, kind of just strategically were like, oh, I think if I wait on getting a steal and a fairy, save it for the last pick, and I can kind of like be ahead of the game on some of the other picks. So that was the main reason I nominated this one.
I also think that Lando I Kiram Mega Mawile is just disgusting
It's
with
just
the
wall breakers.
amount of sheer power that you have, like
Oh
up
yeah.
front. Like that's something that I'm thinking about when also analyzing these teams is I forget who made the, was it Chris who made the tier list with like these are the balanced teams and these are like the powerful teams.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And so like this is just power. When you talk about
Oh yeah.
balance, you often talk about like things I almost called Pokemon folks. The folks who
All these folks.
the folks who have to set up in order to be immediately threatening, just not an issue with these
Right.
three. And also, all three of them can also set up as well.
Right. And notably
So,
with the setup, so highlight Slowking over there. So
yeah.
Slowking has two different pivot options now. It has the where Nat deck, so it has access to teleport.
Hmm.
So it can teleport into any of these Pokemon. It can teleport into Lando or Kyurem. It also gets chilly reception to kind of help bulk out Kyurem on the physical
Hmm.
side if it wants to set up. And it also gets it's also a Trick Room user, so it can set Trick Room and then pass into the Mega Mawile. So Slowking ends
Wow.
up being a good glue for this team. Um, you almost have some like VGC defense as well with the Rotom and the Hitmontop.
Yeah.
Um, that can help as well. So yeah, I think the top part of that draft is really really cool. Notice on the right, um, I did highlight a trick room option, which will be helpful because it like nearly half the team is 55 speed points
Oh,
or below.
right.
Um, and to max out your speed with Furfru and Historian Zoroark, you don't have the most threatening of the top speed options.
Right.
Um, there's some really good scarfers in there with Rotom Heat. Even like Lando can be a good scarfer.
Hmm.
Um,
And Zoroark is
and Zoroark, yeah,
very good. Yeah.
it's a really good one. Yeah. Does the Hisuian one get U-turn?
I think it might.
I can
I'm
check
not
real quick.
sure.
It does. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's also a great a great scarfer for the team. So yeah, I think the key for this team winning is to lean in on the power that we just highlighted with those top three attackers, and then also lean in on the heat, the freeze dry heat that Kiram can bring, because you have a good physical attacker in Mawile, a good special attacker in Lando I, and so that leaves you hopefully with some more freedom to run, Dragon Dance, Scale Shot, Icicle Spear, um, loaded dice sets, or Specs Freeze Dry Draco. So I think that I think the heatest potential for this team is Kiram and Slowking, and
Mm.
kind of how those are built out each week might be the reason you lose when you go up against the Mudkips.
Yeah. And nothing wants to be staring a Mega Mawile in the face when you have to switch out and something has to take, you know.
Either
How
Iron
how
Head
much
or
just
Swords
base
Dance.
attack does it have with its ability?
With the ability, so you have the Mawile, Mega Mawile's base attack is 125, but then if you're adamant and fully boosted, it's 339 before the ability. So it's
Oh
678
my
if you're adamant
god.
max attack.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah,
Which you can usually run just because.
right.
God.
And then like yeah, it's just freaking wild. Um yeah, even if I like choice banded max attacked my Roaring Moon, I'm still 50 points less
Wow.
than where that Mega Mawile is, and so good Pokemon. And yeah, I think just an overall really, really, really cool team. All right, last heat we have is for the ZA division. This is the Florida Klefkis. The
Okay,
Klefkis have a like double gimmick, which is like perfect for heat of the week. You got the I don't even know if sand is weather is a gimmick
eh.
necessarily, but you have the
T-Tar
T-Tar
Excadrill.
T-Tar Excadrill combo, and you also have the terrain gimmick of Lele Sneasler.
Yeah.
Um, the cool thing about this is I think how well they kind of work together. You have you could either start the match with your T-Tar Excadrill and then end WinCon with the Lele Sneasler. Um, Notably, Excadrill, T-Tar, and Sneasler share ground weaknesses, and Excadrill T-Tar share fighting weaknesses. And Lele helps with the fighting weaknesses, and then the sort of what I noticed to be the defensive core, or like the more common defensive core with Rotom and Tangrowth.
Oh,
They're
hell yeah.
fine switching into Earthquakes for the rest of the match. So I really think that the double gimmick will make the opponent's resources spread out, and that really leaves Klefki an opening. They might not necessarily predict where that WinCon opening is when they're team building, but hopefully during the match it'll become evident. Oh, they heavily prepped for T-Tar, so that leaves Sneasler as a potential WinCon.
Um, I just looking at like the Rotomosh Tangrowth core, it just makes me so happy. I mean, because Rotom's my favorite Pokemon, but just what an awesome defensive core to support this whole team.
Right.
I'm not gonna lie, I really like the Dedenne on this team. Like, it kind of like pulls the speed tiers together.
Right.
And also having a fast Nuzzle is just so good for everything on this team and everything in
Yep.
general.
Yep. I think it ends up being like a good Tapu Koko at home in some ways for the team. I think it could be fun and extra heat points for drafting like your branded meme pit
Oh
Pokemon,
yeah.
low tier branded Pokemon. Um I do think that we've talked about a lot of things, but we haven't yet talked about Armarouge.
Yes,
Um,
I love
and
Armarouge.
Armarouge is really really cool. Base 125 special attack, and some like pretty great natural like Clefable level natural ball. Maybe not Clefable's typing, but 85 180.
Wow.
Um, so a Pokemon that can potentially set up in the terrain also has some fire immunities going into the
Mm.
Tangrowth, and the Excadrill could be nice. Um, so that Pokemon could potentially have some of the heatest sets. I think also the Sneasler to me looks like a potential heat.
I think it's
Uh,
interesting because you literally almost have Unburden on the special side and the physical side.
oh yeah,
Because you can do your like Focus Sash weak armor sets,
yep,
then you're like faster than God, and then
yep,
Sneasler with its Unburden is even faster than God. Um,
exactly,
faster. So I really like that you can have kind of like a sweeper at the end with either of these, and then obviously like okay, you just have Excadrill understand, and it's the fastest thing ever and faster than God.
right.
So
This team is less bulky than the other two, but I think it makes up for it in its sweeping potential at the
oh
end.
yeah, oh yeah,
Um, Very much like once the weather is set, then bring Excadrill in to sweep, or once the terrain is down for a certain amount of time. Very cool team. I would love to team build with this because I think
yeah.
it lends itself to heat.
It just looks fun too.
It looks fun, and I think there's enough core Pokemon that it like sometimes if something's too heat, you don't have like the stable backbone to like
Yeah.
build off of. But this has just enough sort of stability with Tangrowth, Rotom, even T-Tar, and Excadrill to just be um yeah, I think flex that heat muscle out of the 9 weeks.
Yeah, the more I look at this team, the more I love it. Like, yeah, fun is the word. Like, you get
Yep.
to have fun every single
Yep.
week.
The speed tiers are slightly deceptive because you have the drill that doubles its speed and sneaks that doubles its true speed and armors that has ways to with their ability to double their speeds or increase their speed. So
Yeah.
I think that this team doesn't is more threatening on the speed side than the like base stats look. Probably one of our faster teams drafted. All right, so out of these three Heat of the Week nominations, we will collaborate and crown one champion for Heat of the Week draft week. Emerson, do you have a favorite of the three?
Okay, so we're FKK,
Kips
Kips,
and Boston.
Boston. Hmm. I think I'm gonna go with the Florida Klefkis, honestly.
Oh, that's very cool. I would
Okay, are
I
we
would-
we're ranking on like heat or are we
yeah, Heat of
ranking
the Week
on
draft week.
okay, okay.
However you want to divvy out your
Define
points.
it.
Yeah.
Hmm. I just think my eyes have been opened to all of the synergies of the Florida Klefkis team that I think that that's heat. That's
Very
my
cool.
heat of the heat.
I will I think I was maybe tied between Keys and Boston. I think Boston has a lot of heat options, and the fact that they drafted an Amorous round 6 uh is some heat, but I think I will because I'm torn, we can use you as the tiebreaker to
Okay.
say that Heat of the Week draft week goes to the Florida Klefkis. Congratulations, Pink Floofles.
Yay.
And for everyone else out there, use this as an opportunity to be creative and to have fun every week. Obviously, winning is fun, but also bringing sets that are that you're proud of and that are goofy or whatever
Yeah,
is
absolutely.
another way.
You do
Is
not
another way to have
need
fun.
you don't need to win to have
You
heat
don't
of
need
the
to win
week.
to be to have, and if you want to throw your matches against me because you want to win Heat of the Week, I will nominate you. Just tell me ahead of time and message me your moves as we play the game, and you will get Heat of the Week. But yeah, no, just jokes aside, the point of this is to have fun and to highlight another part of Draft League that is fun besides just winning, and that is having fun with your the Pokemon that you drafted. So our goal is to see you every week, but obviously life has its ways. And we'll hope to see you pretty regularly though this season.
Yeah. I'm really excited to keep doing this heat of the week and we'll see you on the other side.
Bye.
Bye.